It's a spooky, ooky. Oh, shit. What did I do?
What happened?
Damn it. Sorry.
You ruined it. Now we have to start over again. For the 18th time.
Oh, no.
What?
We're good. Oh, hi, guys.
Oh, hi.
Damn. Okay. No, we're good.
We're just
Crisis
having some spooky hijinks here this week.
Crisis averted. Must be all of that, like, bad luck coming this way, huh, Katie?
Mm-hmm.
How you like that for a segue, huh?
An opening segue.
An opening segue, exactly.
So we are, this week, we're jumping right into it. We are just getting in.
Right on into the meat.
We are charging forth this week. We have plenty of energy. We have plenty of excitement. We have plenty of
talent.
Planning and research. Well, we have trash talent. It's different. It's a different type of thing. But we are high energy, high octane fuel this week on the Haunted Heart podcast because we're a little low energy last week.
Listen, Linda.
Listen.
You just, some days it's like that, you know?
Sometimes.
Some days it bees like that.
It does. It does bees like that. But we are very awake. I am very awake. I'm aggressive. I would say that I am aggressively awake right now.
Which means you're about to.
I went to Taco Bell and I had a large sweet tea.
Yes.
I have about half of it left. I feel like my eyeballs are on fire. I feel like I can do anything that I want to right now. It is like 9:45 at night and I'm feeling like it's about fucking 10:30 in the morning and I'm ready to tackle my fucking day. I have been awake for near on 18 hours.
Nice.
At this point in time.
And your eyes are quite literally on fire, considering the reflection from the candles.
Absolutely. I'm a 4 eyes, you guys. So
Aww.
I just went to eye doctor today, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looked at my weird spot that was in my eye.
Wait, you have a weird spot?
Yeah, it looks like a pin mark. It looks like somebody took a pen and just like dotted part of the white of my eye.
It's a witch mark.
Maybe. But I was like, I mean, I saw it like somebody pointed out to me like a while back. And I was like, oh, it's probably fine. I'm probably not dying. But I actually remembered to talk to my doctor about it. And he was like, I mean, I'm not worried. He said it was actually like a nerve ending. Apparently, you have nerve endings all through your eye, and sometimes they attach to the, like, whites of your eyes, and sometimes they just kind of, like, pop up near the surface for no reason.
Oh.
He was like, there's no reason that they actually do that. It just, sometimes it's more prominent than other times, and it's just a nerve ending, and blah, blah, blah.
Good on you for going to the doctor, being an adult, and, like, checking on your health.
Absolutely. This is the podcast about optometry. Here we are. The Haunted Eye. I mean,
the Haunted Eye. We just go from different...
We have a spinoff.
The Haunted
Eye. Yeah. No. Today is the day that my childhood died. The death knell was rang.
Uh-huh.
The final nail in the coffin of my adolescence and my fun, youthful, spirited days, because I now have an HSA that I took on.
Yeah.
A health savings account.
I've got one of those through my place of business. Yeah.
I don't have one. I opened an individual one. It's actually a really good way to save money on your taxes. This is the Tax Advice Podcast now. It's fine. Open an HSA. Write it off on your taxes. $3,450 a year. Do it. Do it now.
Do it.
It's tax-free. It's pre-tax money that you can access tax-free if you need to for medical expenses.
No, but for real, though. Like,
here's the thing. Don't take your financial advice from a haunted podcast.
A haunted podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
It's haunted.
A podcast on just like...
By
the macabre. This podcast is haunted.
Open an eye.
What if the twist to the podcast is that we're like not actually humans?
I mean, sometimes
Like
I don't
that-
feel like I'm human.
Right? That we're like ghosts that are hosting this podcast.
Who says we aren't? They didn't need to know that. No, but for real. Like, so, y'all know what day is coming up.
You know.
You know
if
what it
you
is.
Yeah, you must know what our theme
I mean,
would be today.
well, I'm going to give you, like, a brief second to take a guess. So go ahead and answer now. Hopefully you got that right.
Hopefully so. I believe in you. I think you did. So we're talking
About
Friday
Friday
the
the
13th.
13th.
Of course we are. Of course we are. So it's coming up in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
2 days from when you are listening to this with your ear holes.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be awesome. Friday the 13th is always a lucky day. Knock on wood. Hopefully I won't
You're going to have the shittiest Friday the 13th
I hope not.
now.
I hope not, dude. But it's always been that way for the women in my family. Like, we always, they're kind of like, it's not a... My grandma says it's like her luckiest. Like, she's luckiest on Friday the 13th.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
And, it's... In other countries and other places, like 13 is considered a lucky number.
Girl, I graduated 13th in my class on purpose.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got really mad like one day because I moved up to like 11 or 12 and I was pissed. Kenny is like about to sneeze
Oh my
right
God.
now and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. He like put his little finger up underneath his nose and then his face kind of wrinkled a little bit and it was so
I
cute.
just didn't want to sneeze.
No, it was really adorable.
Okay.
I wish I'd kept my chill, but I
I'm
just
not
needed to
supposed to be
share it with
adorable,
everybody.
Katie.
And no, it was so cute. It was the cutest thing. Anyway, yes, no, that is a very true story. I was 13th in my class at midterm when they showed us like all the like different grades of everybody in high school, or not grades, but they're like the ranking of us. And then I moved up like 2 spaces, and I was pissed. So then I just like didn't turn in my homework for a week. And
Okay.
I moved to
You
13.
were committed.
Yeah, I really wanted to be number 13, and I was. So there you go.
Well, hey, it's...
I didn't want that top 10 spot. I didn't need
you
it.
just wanted number 13. I'm kind of
I wanted
like...
to make a statement.
I don't have an opinion either way. Like, Friday the 13th typically always comes for me, and like, I'm like, oh, that was Friday the 13th.
Yeah, like you don't notice that it's
But,
a thing.
I mean, that's not to say that, some freaky shit hasn't happened. I mean, it's kind of really interesting to think, like, that it affects some people in such a way that, because, like, there's actually a phobia of Friday the 13th.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, it's a really long word. I cannot pronounce it. Trisketophobia.
Try to skate a phobia?
Yeah, it's something like
Try
that.
to skate, a phobia.
No, but apparently Stephen King actually suffers from that phobia of Friday the 13th.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I found a different word. It was frigatriscadecaphobic.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because there's one for like a fear of the number 13, and then there's one for fear of Friday the 13th.
Oh, it's
So
two separate
that's
ones.
that one.
Okay,
And I can't.
Scatophobia.
That's too much. I can't.
It's extra.
That is so extra.
So are people that have the scared of the number 13? Like, are they scared of the number 13 in every month?
I'm assuming so.
Oh.
Because, I mean, it's just, like, anything that would be, like, a number 13. So, like, I assume that could take many forms.
Are they also scared of 31?
Probably not.
Because it's, like, just the same thing reversed. I mean, I personally would be watching 31. Because that's the motherfucker that's sneaky. He disappears from the calendar every other month.
Mm-hmm.
What's he doing?
Mm-hmm.
What's he doing on his off months?
Mm-hmm.
Where's he going? Who's he talking to?
Hey.
Number
Stop
31.
bad-mouthing 31, okay?
31's who you gotta look out for. I'm just saying. He's sketchy.
31. October 31.
That's true. Okay, so you should be even more, we need to start, a 31 cult.
No, but there was actually a
Isn't that like a company that sells like lunch bags in the South? I think it's like a Southern Belle lunch bag company.
There was actually a group of people. They called themselves the 13 Club.
Really?
Yeah, and so they set out. It was a bunch of men, and they set out to.
Why did you say that? It was a bunch of men.
I mean, because it was just a bunch of men. Like,
yeah.
It was a bunch of old white men. Like, and they set out to disprove the stigma or the fear of Friday the 13th.
Really?
Yeah. So, like, there's a big fear that that you're not supposed to have, like, 13 people at a dinner table, which kind of goes back to, like, what I mentioned last week about the Last Supper, like, with Judas, the traitor, supposedly came in late and added, like, 13 to the mix.
Oh, interesting.
So...
Girl, I don't think you should have 13 people at dinner anyway, just because, like, I mean, I don't want that many people around.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
That's, like, uncomfortably large.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not enough to be, like, a shebang.
Yeah.
But it's not small enough to be, like...
Intimate. No.
13 people? No. We're cutting some names off that list.
I mean, you're going to run out of butter in your decorative butter statuette. They're not made for 13 people. Mm-mm. They're made for maybe 8 people.
If that.
That's it. Maybe 1 people.
Yeah.
Maybe me. Maybe just me.
Just me.
And my spoon. And my cats.
That's fine. I don't judge you.
Maybe that.
I don't judge you. But yeah, so they set out to disprove that theory, and so they, like, every Friday the 13th, they went and had themselves a meal together. And they were called the 13 Club. Yeah.
Where did they go? Golden Corral? I bet it was a Golden Corral.
No, I think they actually went to, like, I could be wrong on this, but I think I remember reading that they went to, like, the 13th floor of, like, they had a special, like,
no, see,
like 13th
that's too
floor.
much. No,
and so
no, you tested
and they would
it.
but then they would do, like, they would have, like, fun little, like, games and stuff. So, like, when you come in to dinner, you would, like, walk under a ladder.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
like, you
see,
would do that sort of
thing. For me,
that's not cute. I think that's kind of cute.
For me, it's too much. So here's my, like, I'm not like a Friday the 13th, like I don't think that there's bad energy that day. I don't think that it's like, I don't think that there's anything about that day that is negative, but I do think, you guys know by now that I'm all about energy, right? And I'm all about, like, and you certainly, Kenny, you know this, but I think it's all about intention. And so, like, if you're doing something like that where your intention is like, oh, we're gonna, like, dispel the belief that anything, could happen on this day, or that anything is special about this day, or whatever, and you start, like, I feel like if you go into it with that sort of, like, contrary attitude where it's like, oh, we're gonna, like, disprove this, and then you tent it so much, like having people walking under ladders, and, like, if your energy is like, we're gonna show the forces of nature or whatever, I feel like you about to just get your ass cursed or some shit. Like, I just feel like,
well, listen,
respect. Respect.
I love a party.
Yes.
I love a theme. I'm a gay man. I like a theme.
That's true.
So I could appreciate it. I think it's cute. Like, you come in, you walk under the ladder. You might have, like, some black cat figurines around that might be decorating, your space.
I mean, I'm all about that. I guess maybe I came down too hard.
You might have some broken mirrors around. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I could see it. I think it would be a fun little party. But
maybe I came down too hard on it. I thought they were serious, like, real serious.
No,
if it's all done in fun and respect, then that's fine.
I believe it was more done in, like, just to say, hey, like,
right, like,
there's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
okay, dispelling superstition is cool, especially dispelling superstition about black cats.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I would throw a party anyway.
I take back I feel like I came down really hard on them. I feel bad.
Yeah, so, like, it's just so weird that even like there's some hotels that refuse to label their 13th floor like
There's a lot
13.
of hotels. No, that's a thing. It's very rare that you stay in a hotel where they actually have a 13th floor and label it as such. Most hotels just
like,
totally skip over.
It's like floor 12 and then 12A or
yeah.
12B.
Or it just goes like 10, 11, 12, 14. Yeah. I mean, that's like some shit I found at the Holiday Inn and Express. Like, I'm not staying at like, you know, we're not classy here on the Haunted Heart podcast. Like,
What makes you think, like, what sort of causes all of this? And I think it's sort of like, I don't think there's a clear, like, moment. I think it's just like a culmination of, like, things that just sort of turned into, like, a superstition.
Yeah.
Some people say, like, there was a book actually that came out in like I believe the early 1900s it was literally called Friday the 13th.
Really?
Yeah. And it was about a like stockbroker who used the fear of like the number 13 and like all of that stuff to play the stock market.
I feel like I heard about that maybe I just read about it this week.
I think that's probably the first like more modern day reference, because you have some instances like supposedly King Philip of France like had the Grand Master of the Knights Templar arrested and on Friday, October the 13th. But yeah, and even if you go back into like I mentioned earlier with the Last Supper, even in Norse mythology, like Loki was said to have crashed the party of 12 gods in Valhalla and caused the death of Baldur, a beloved god of light and joy, and thus, set
I think his name was Baldur.
Baldur.
Sorry, he
whatever.
was real cute. Norse mythology is a thing for me.
Okay, well, great.
Did you know that Loki may or may not have fucked a horse and created weird horse spider children?
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a myth.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like this guy, they had a bet against this guy and he had this workhorse that he couldn't build. The bet was that the gods said that the guy couldn't build the wall. And the guy was actually building the wall. And they were going to have to give him Freya because Loki made the bet. Because Loki does bullshit like that. And then he had to distract the guy's horse because apparently that horse was just a badass motherfucker. So Loki transformed into a horse, into a girl horse, and then just totally Pepe Le Pew, like, lured the workhorse away. That was, I'm showing my age. Okay. I'm feeling old with that reference. I'm feeling old. Anyway, so Loki, like, lured the other horse away, and then apparently they got it on.
Ugh.
Apparently he didn't like to talk about it too much, but
I wouldn't either.
I mean, he was doing it, and I'm just saying he was the girl horse. So,
well,
so
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different like references.
There you go for a tangent.
Yeah, there's a lot of references throughout history that sort of just make 13.
The spooky number.
Yeah, like the spooky number. You got to think like we operate like through. Like 12 hours a day, 12 months a year. You know what I mean? So 13 is like a sort of like it's like the 13th hour. It's like,
yeah, I was about to say that, like, in there's a number of books and movies even too where 13 like bell tolls or 13 dings of a clock are bad news. I actually, for that reason, always count. Like, if there's a sort of clock that, like, dings, like cuckoo clocks do it, and the old grandfather clocks, I always have to count the dings because I'm always terrified that I get nervous when it's 12 because I get nervous that there's going to be a 13th one, and then I'm going to fall into another dimension and never be able to get back.
Right.
So maybe I shouldn't count.
And you just count, and then it's the 13, and then it's just...
And then you're fucked.
Yeah. And time just, like, warps, and, you turn in on yourself, and then you just pop out on the other side as Caitlin from the 13th Hour. What would Caitlin from the 13th Hour look like?
I don't know. She probably, honestly, might have her shit more together than me. Maybe Caitlin from the 13th Hour was Caitlin from last episode.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe. I feel like Caitlin from the 13th Hour would be like absolutely perfect hair. You know what I mean? Like straight, like.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sort of. I feel like honestly, I feel like she would be very together. Which would
seems like it makes sense.
Right?
Yeah,
me.
the universe turning in on itself, and
makes you a normal human being.
Seems like it would make me somebody who has their shit together. Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
I'm just saying.
No, it's true. It's true.
I'm just saying she would show literally the 13th Hour, Caitlin. I'd be like, okay, Katie, let's get over here at like 8 o'clock to podcast, and then she'd be here at 8 o'clock.
Bitch, I was here today at 7:30. And what time did you walk through the door?
Listen, I have a new commute, okay? I can't help that.
I'm aware. I'm just saying I was in place. I was in place for my
You were in place. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That's only because I'm super late.
And then we waited. Because we had to watch Lady Gaga sing to Elton John, and it was a beautiful moment.
And then we also had to wait for pizza, too, so.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a hand in the pizza. That was your husband.
But we still waited. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of a little, like, back history of the things that sort of made Friday the 13th, or made us believe it to be unlucky. So, what do you have for us?
Well, I'm very excited about my information that I have for you this week.
You seem to be pretty excited.
I'm very excited.
She was like...
I am prepared.
Okay, so like when we did the Parasite episode and I had Lizzie Borden.
Yes.
I feel like this is...
I thought you
Katie's
said Parasite episode, as in like a parasite. Like something that attaches to somebody and feeds on them. And we should write that down. I was like, when did we do an episode on parasites?
We did it in the 13th hour.
Like Parasite. I think that's how you spell it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I hope I spelled it right. We should edit it if I didn't.
No editing.
Yeah, we don't believe in that here. Yes. I'm prepared this week.
Okay. Okay. All right, 13th hour Caitlin, prepared.
Absolutely. We have entered the 13th hour, and I'm here, prepared. I'm prepared, Caitlin.
Oh.
So last week was a little bit all over the place. So this week I was like, let me just strip it down. Let me dial it back. Let me take it all the way back to basics.
All right.
And I decided I'm covering a case because I feel like it.
Okay.
So I have a case for you. A case of Mordor.
Mordor? I think that's a Lord of the Rings reference.
Yes. Yeah, entering Mordor and such. Now I have a sudden and gripping fear that we were running the air the entire first half of the podcast.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It feels like it got quieter. Maybe it's just my laser focus on my murder case.
All right.
So, Friday the 13th, very popular in pop culture.
I'm not a fan, though. I'm just going to lay it out there. And
oh, you mean the movie? Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yes.
And you know what? Come at me.
Well, I'm not a fan. It's just like in the big, you know, you've got your Michael, you've got your Leatherface, you've got your Freddy, you've got Jason, right? Those are like the big four.
Your big four.
And I always include Ghostface in there because I love him. And I know that he's like his own little category, and I love him for being his own category. But I'm mentioning him because he deserves to be mentioned, damn it.
Yeah, most people.
And he gets over fucking looked.
Him. Or Pinhead.
Well, he's like the fifth alternate, right? He and Pinhead are like fifth alternate spot.
But the big four.
But of the big four, Jason Voorhees is definitely my least favorite. But I don't not like Friday the 13th. Like if it's the only option, if it's on, maybe I'll sit and watch it.
Okay, maybe we should. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we shouldn't watch it.
Yeah, I think
like
we should.
once.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good.
No.
Like, I'll watch parts of it. It's fine.
My thing behind it is that I guess I'm more kind of like you. Like, I don't, like, hate it. Like, I appreciate him and I respect him in the Big Four.
Right.
But I just don't relate to any of that because I don't go camping. I don't go swimming in lakes.
It's yeah, I think I agree.
But do I sit at home on Halloween night? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I exist on Halloween?
Do I exist on Halloween?
Yeah, most of the time.
Do. I'm not going camping. I'm not swimming. So, I don't know. There was never like I don't know. I just didn't relate to it. So, but, I mean, everybody sleeps. Freddy. Everybody exists on Halloween. And, I mean...
And everybody's scared of somebody making skin suits out of them.
Right. I mean, Ed Gein.
Right? It's a natural fear.
Yeah.
Natural and normal fear. Well...
Everybody drives, at one point across the country through Texas, I'm sure. So... You never know. There are crazy families out there.
I'm giving you advice. Don't do it. Don't drive through Texas. Don't.
There are crazy families out there.
That's true. That's true.
That's another episode for you.
Crazy families?
Yeah.
We going to talk about ours or are we going to find some?
Just ours. So, yes. Continue. Sorry.
So, after that long Friday the 13th tangent.
Well, I feel like you can't, not talk about Friday the 13th.
That's true.
So.
Well, I'm going to talk about it because I'm covering the murder case that inspired it.
Okay. So, we're segueing
So, I'm going to
into
talk
that,
about
okay?
it. I'm talking about it.
So, talk.
You just ruined everybody's disbelief. They're supposed to not know that you know what I'm going to talk about. He doesn't always know what I'm going to talk about. I didn't know it. But we talked about it this time because... I wanted to make sure that he didn't also fucking cover this case. Because I was a little worried.
No, but I don't know the details. I know nothing about it.
No, he did not actually research and cover this case. But I did tell him before we started recording. Whatever. Your illusions, I'm shattering them. I don't care about your illusions. I don't care about you. I'm kidding. I love you. I love you.
The illusions are still there.
I love you so much. So, Friday the 13th was inspired by the Lake Bodom murders in Finland.
Okay.
So I'm going to preface this with there is shockingly little on this case available online. I did do my research, but there's not a whole lot of information available. There were only a couple different articles that I could pull from, and it was one of those situations where there were maybe 4 or 5 articles, and all of those articles were pulling information from kind of the same source.
Okay.
So it was clear that everybody used this main article as source material, and then they just kind of put their own spin on it. But it happened June 5th of 1960.
I'm so mad it didn't happen on a Friday the 13th.
Right?
That's trash.
It didn't happen on Friday the 13th at all. Not at all.
Okay.
How garbage is that?
Garbage, trash.
I felt for sure, I was yes, this is going to be perfect. And I'm reading along and I'm June fucking 6th? What?
June 6th.
And it wasn't even but I guess 6/6/60. That's kind of cool, right? Because it would have been the month 6, June. The 6th day, and then 60 year. I mean,
that's a stretch, but okay.
No, because there's a 0 on either side. It would be 0/6/6/9 or 60. Okay. So it would be 0/6/6/60.
Okay. All right.
I'm making it creepy.
All right.
I'm making it creepy.
That's how we do.
I'm bringing
here.
the Satan to you.
That's how we do. Hail Satan.
We can't say that. We're gonna get fucking sued.
Why?
Last podcast, we love you. We are not stealing your hailing of Satan. We are hailing Satan with you.
Oh, come on.
Okay, but that's the thing.
Okay, well, I didn't know that was a thing. So, but it's a thing.
That's
with
true. You
also
don't listen
Satanists,
to that podcast,
so
because you don't have taste. No, go listen. If you don't know last podcast, you should listen to last podcast, and then still listen to our podcast because we're cool too.
Oh, but also let me just go back because not just because you're a Satanist doesn't mean you say Hail Satan.
I mean, that's true. But if you're an enthusiastic Satanist, you can hail Satan if you want to.
Okay. Whatever.
Anyway,
I mean, are they suing all those little Etsy companies
Fucking
that have Hail Satan pins on them and all that stuff? No.
if you sue me, you ain't getting nothing. Like, I mean, I don't have any money for you.
You getting that HSA?
If they sued me, I fucking contribute to their Patreon. So if they want my $10 a month, they will not fucking sue me because I'm a patron.
The ultimate. Let me speak to your manager.
Let me just tell you. So anyway, okay, back to the murder.
Back to the murder.
We have our shit together this week. We can't do this.
Damn it.
So, June 5th. Oh, fuck. It wasn't the 6th. It was the 5th. I read it wrong. So it's not 06660. Fuck.
That's some bad luck right there.
God, that makes it so much... Clearly, I needed to go to the eye doctor. Anyway.
How's that pinhole working for you?
I mean...
In your eye?
Clearly, it's not fucking working out. I told you what it was. Yeah?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good. It's just an exposed nerve, guys. I'm not going blind yet. Okay. June 5th, 1960. Get yourself in the mood.
Okay.
Put on
June
your
5th.
Beatles tracks. Get your trendy clothing and your round sunglasses. We're in Finland.
Okay.
And we're camping by a lake.
Okay.
Lake Bodom.
Bodom.
I might be pronouncing it wrong, but Lake Bodom
Bottom.
is in the city of Espoo.
Who?
Espoo.
Ispoo.
Espoo.
It's spooky.
God, we're fucking murdering it.
It's spooky.
I don't think we have any listeners in Finland, but if we do, I'm sorry.
Hopefully not in Espoo.
I'm really sorry. So it's about like 22 kilometers because we're in fucking Finland. It's 22 kilometers west of Helsinki.
Okay.
Which is the capital of Finland, if you didn't know. We have 4 teenagers who are camping on the shore of Lake Bodom. So it's summer, like they're doing their thing. It has to be like somewhat warm in Finland in June. I mean, I know Finland's a cold place, but like it's probably warmish. And they're camping and they're doing their thing and it's like the 60s, so it's like sort of free love.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Scandinavian countries, it's always been free love, but like they're chilling.
Okay.
And between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., suddenly, an unknown person or being murders them. 3 of them. So 3 of the 4 teenagers are murdered. They're stabbed with a knife and also assaulted with a blunt instrument. The 4th teenager is wounded, but he eventually actually survives. He gets away.
He's the final girl.
Basically, yes. He's the final girl. His name is Niels Wilhelm Gustafsson. So he gets away. So you have 3 teenagers who are murdered and then 1 escapes.
Okay.
So this case is sort of like, I don't think it was it was kind of a big deal when it happened, but it seems to kind of be like the evergreen tree of murder cases for Finland because it just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. And spoiler alert, it's unsolved. So, details on the murders specifically. It was between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. And the bodies were discovered at around 11 a.m. A carpenter by the name of Risto Seren had been jogging, and he discovered the bodies on his morning jog, and he alerted the police. What I appreciate about Risto Seren is that he was on his morning jog at 11 a.m. Now, 11 a.m. is an appropriate time to run.
Is that what time you go running?
Not fucking 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. like they like to start all these freaking running races. But 11 a.m. Wake up, have yourself a nice breakfast, rest, go for a light jog, discover 3 murdered teenagers. Alert the police.
Okay.
Itinerary.
Yeah.
So he alerts the police at around 11 a.m. and the police arrive, casually at noon. an hour later. That's cool.
Casually
right?
at noon.
You know. Not like there's an emergency or anything.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So when the police arrive and they kind of start investigating the scene, they find that the killer never actually entered the tent, but had attacked the boys from outside the tent.
Oh, that is...
So he stabbed through the tent and assaulted with a blunt object through the tent, which makes perfect sense, right? Because tents are so thin, you don't have to come in the tent to hurt somebody.
That is so scary.
Absolutely, right?
When you go camping, not that I've ever... Well, yeah, okay. I have been camping before. But that's always like a really like weird fear. It's like, who's outside of your tent?
Right. And you're always worried about somebody coming in, but nope.
What they just
fucking go for it, man.
They just go for it right there.
Yeah.
They just stab you right through the tent.
Terrifying.
They're not worried about waiting for you to come out.
Yeah. No.
That's terrifying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it's a barrier thing, right? It's like when you're scared at night and you get under your blankets and you're like, well, nothing can get me under these blankets. Nothing can get me here. I'm perfectly safe. But Psych. Of course you're fucking not at all. And it's the same thing in a tent. Like, you're not safe because you're in the tent. Like, you're still in a fucking plastic bag in the fucking great outdoors.
Uh-huh.
Like, no. Unless my tent is made of, like, fucking Teflon.
Like an RV?
Yeah. Like an RV that I can fucking lock.
Lock that shit.
Not doing it. Not fucking being a... You're a snack bag for a fucking bear or a murderer.
Snack bag.
Think about it. You're in this like little flimsy ass little shitty tent and you're in a Ziploc bag. Mm-hmm. Basically, you're a snack.
No. Not about it.
I can't do that. Anyway. So we won't be sponsored by... Dick's Sporting Goods or REI or Bass Pro Shops anytime soon. Kiss that goodbye. What the police also found after the horrifying detail that the killer never entered the tent, they never found the murder weapons, but they did find that the killer had stolen a couple of the victims' personal items, including their wallets and some of their clothes. And some of the clothes and Niles' shoes, I'm sorry if it's Nils, but I think it's Niles. Niles Gustafsson, the survivor, his shoes were later found partially hidden approximately 500 meters from the site of the murder, along with some clothes, some assorted clothes. And there were some items from the victims that were never, ever found. And the tracks that led away from the murder site, there's blood. Obviously, if you're attacking somebody with a knife, there's going to be a large amount of blood. So there were bloody footprints leading away from the murder site that showed the killer was wearing Niles Gustafsson's shoes.
But they found his shoes.
They found the shoes a couple yards away. So what it looked like to them is that whoever had attacked them was wearing Niles Gustafsson's shoes and then ditched the shoes about 500 meters away. Because the bloody footprints led to where the shoes were left. So it was the, and I'm sorry we haven't gone over the names of our victims yet. We had Mila Irmeli Bjorklund and Anja Tulikimaki. They were both 15 years old, and they were two females. And they were accompanying their 18-year-old boyfriends, Seppo and Tara Boisman, and Niles Wilhelm Gustafsson. And Niles Wilhelm Gustafsson is, of course, our only survivor. And both Mila, Anja, and also Seppo just were murdered.
So Niles was attacked in the tent as well, right? Or because I'm just...
Who knows? It seems like you might have some of the same questions that the cops had. So Mila who was Gustafsson's girlfriend, the survivor's girlfriend. She was found undressed from the waist down and was lying on top of the tent. She had the most injuries out of all of the victims, which is also interesting. Mm-hmm. She was stabbed multiple times after her death, which is something we refer to as overkill. And the other two teenagers were, they had far less injuries. They weren't as, it seemed clear to the officers that were investigating that Milo was overkill, and the other two were not as much. So, interesting. So there's been, obviously it's an unsolved murder, but there's been a number of suspects who were interesting and who were looked at by the police. Paulie Luoma was looked at for a while. He was a runaway from a nearby work department. I guess they have just work departments in Finland. I don't know what that is. I didn't research it. Sue me. But police apprehended him soon, and they brought him in for questioning, but they found out that he had a valid alibi. I honestly think they just looked at this guy because he was a runaway. But he was in another city at the time of the murder, so they crossed him off their list relatively quickly. And then there was Pentti Soininen, who was a maintenance man, and he was convicted of a couple violent crimes in the late 60s. And at around 24, he actually confessed that he had committed the Lake Bodom murders.
Okay.
And he would have been around 15 at the time that those murders occurred. So in the late 60s, you have somebody who's 24 who's confessing that he committed the Lake Bodom murders at age 15. But when the police interrogated him, they basically found out that he was a psychopath, and they thought that he was confessing to the crime just for notoriety. And a lot of his crimes revolved around like theft and assault, but it wasn't like
murder.
Yeah, it just didn't fit the MO. Like they didn't know why he at 15 would have, done this to these these teenagers who were just like camping out and chilling.
Well, that's a lot for like a 15-year-old. Like you've got what? Because the two men were 18.
Yeah, the two guys were 18 and the girls were 15.
That's a lot for one 15-year-old
15
boy to like.
I'm not going to say that 15-year-olds can't do that, because obviously we have, cases where people have been killing from a very young age. And so it's not unheard of, but what kind of convinced me that it wasn't him is that the MO just didn't match. Like, why would you... all of his crimes seem to be motivated by theft, and I don't know why you would attack 4 teenagers who were camping out by a lake, because they're not going to have money.
Yeah, they're not going to have a whole lot.
Right. Like, they wouldn't have... You would go after somebody who's older, who you might be able to get more money off of, right? Because otherwise it's just not worth your time.
I mean, unless he really was just doing it for the notoriety. I mean, because you did say that he did, like, some of their personal belongings were taken.
I think he confessed for the notoriety. I think he was a psychopath who confessed because of, he's already in jail. I don't trust jailhouse confessions too terribly much. Not when it's a person with the mental makeup like this guy. But regardless, in 1969, he hung himself.
Oh, okay.
At a prisoner transport station. So we won't hear any more from him.
Oh, all right.
So our next suspect is Valdemar Gillstrom.
Valdemar.
Yes. So this is also the late 60s. He was a kiosk keeper from Aitta. That cannot be right. Oittaa. He apparently... He kind of reminds me of you.
Excuse you?
Well, he was known to hate campers, and he behaved very aggressively towards campers.
Okay.
And they called him Kiosk Man.
Okay. Kiosk Man.
Yes. Apparently, while drunk, he confessed to his neighbor that he killed. He just said, quote, yeah, that would be the air. That scared the shit out of me.
That would be the air.
Can we not have that? happen? Can we not?
Yeah.
Now it's the AMR section. Right in the middle of my fucking case that I prepared for you so that you could have a nice podcast with a nice solid through line that you could grip onto and have suspense.
I thought about that.
Instead, you get to hear chair squeaks.
I thought about that. I thought about the air. But then I didn't think it would be on because it's...
Cold as balls outside?
Exactly.
Not hot. Anyway, Kiosk Man. Back to Kiosk Man. We have to get back into it. So we're being very serious and professional on this episode. Apparently, our Kiosk Man, Valdemar Gilstrom, he had confessed to a neighbor while he was drunk that he said, quote, I killed them, referring to the campers at Lake Bodom. And this was before his death in 1969 when he drowned in Lake Bodom. While drunk, I'm assuming. He filled the well in his courtyard a few days after the murders. And because of that, I don't know why him filling the well is important, but because of that, he kind of like, they studied his house and his courtyard in depth. For some reason, that meant something to the police that he filled the well. I don't know why. But nothing incriminating was ever found. I don't know if they thought maybe he was trying to hide evidence. It was that his relatives... Okay, so his relatives thought that maybe he had hid the murder weapon. Apparently his relatives didn't fucking like him. Apparently his relatives
You're right. It sounds just like me.
Right? Apparently his relatives thought that he might have hidden the murder weapon in the filled-in well. So, like, I think the idea was that he had murdered them and then brought the murder weapon back, hid it in the bottom of the well, and then filled the well up so that they couldn't find it. But according to the police, he had an alibi for the night of the murders, and his wife corroborated it. But then later, the wife said, so at the time when the police questioned him, he had an alibi, and his wife, corroborated. But before her death, she said that he had threatened to kill her if she didn't agree to corroborate him for that night. In the night that was in question. So, who knows, right?
Yeah.
So, that one was kind of a big question mark. Another suspect was, you're going to laugh. So, I think his name is Hans Assmann, but his name is spelled Assmann. So, you can have your moment.
Hans Assmann.
Perfect. Are you excited? Are you happy? Do you feel fulfilled?
Hold on. Hans Assmann.
Doesn't he sound like a fucking villain from a Bond movie? Hello, Mr. Bond.
Hello, Mr.
My name is Hans Assmann. And then like all of his evil Bond villain like henchwomen just
got a donk.
Have ridiculous donks. Oh my god.
He's just constantly slapping them.
This is derailing so quickly. So this guy is a freaking KGB spy. An alleged KGB spy. I have to say alleged.
Okay.
So he was an alleged KGB spy. And apparently he checked into the hospital. So we know our murders took place on June 5th. He checked into the Helsinki Surgical Hospital on June 6th. And he was apparently very, very strange. He appeared disheveled. And he had black fingernails. And he had blood stains on his clothes. And it seems like he may have lied to hospital staff about the cause of his appearance. He pretended to be unconscious, and they said he was very aggressive and very nervous. His clothing matched the description of the Lake Bodom murderer as he was described by, I guess, Niles. He had blonde hair, which is important because there was a witness who actually described seeing... Who was that? Yes, there were some boys that were bird watching at a distance from the murder scene, like early that morning, I guess. and they had reportedly seen the tent collapsed and a blonde man walking away from the tent. So our guy, Hans Osman, has blonde hair. He lived within 5 kilometers of Lake Bodom, and he just had a really sketchy, guilty behavior, and he has fucking black fingernails and clothes that are stained with blood, so he seems like a really good suspect.
Right.
The chief inspector also suspected that he was responsible for 5 other murders, and he's been linked to other unsolved Finnish homicides and things like that, but here's my thing. I get that he looks good. I get that he checks in the day after with bloodstains all over his clothes and he's black nails, and clearly he's acting like a fucking weirdo, so he's guilty of something. But why would a KGB spy be murdering 4 teenagers? Or attempting to murder 4 teenagers in the middle of freaking nowhere? In Finland? Why?
I mean...
Like, what's the MO?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my problem with that suspect. It's like, I mean, the other ones I can kind of get. Like, I get that Valdemar Gillstrom, I get the filling of the
He just
well
didn't
is
like
super
campers.
fucking weird. And clearly he
like
hated campers. Right.
them damn campers.
And I get the guy who, I get Pentti Soininen, the guy who is a psychopath. Like, I kind of think he confessed to it just for the notoriety because the case was popular. But, I mean, I could see him doing it if he's a psychopath, maybe. The first guy, I don't think he's connected to it. But the KGB thing is just, like, totally out of left field. I think he was maybe doing some sketchy shit, but I don't think that he was targeting teenagers in the middle of nowhere. But what really becomes interesting, so all of those suspects were suspects who came about within 10-ish years from the murders. Where it really gets interesting is March of 2004.
Okay.
For murder that was committed in 1960.
Come on up to 2004.
Almost 44 years later, Niels Gustafsson himself was arrested by the police on suspicion of having murdered his 3 friends.
I mean, that was my first go-to.
Right. I think it had to do with the overkill
Uh-huh.
on his girlfriend, Mila. And I also believe that they were very suspicious about the shoes, too.
Yeah.
I tried to look up Niels Gustafsson, and I wasn't able...
Which he's doing right now.
No, I mean, I tried to look him up, and I saw the pictures that I saw, he was older, but, like, he doesn't have blonde hair. But some of them, it looks like maybe he could have been one of those kids who had strawberry blonde hair when he was a kid. Yeah. And now he looks more like a redhead or, like, darker hair.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have blonde hair, but he looks like he maybe could have had blonde hair.
I mean, that's like me. When I was younger, I had full blonde. I was blonde.
Yeah.
Like, and it just turned dark.
So you couldn't rule him out necessarily, but and it even went so far as to, in early 2005, the Finnish National Bureau of Investigation declared the case was solved based on new bloodstain analysis information. And according to the official statement that they released then, saying this thing is solved, Gustafsson erupted in jealous anger at his new girlfriend. And he stabbed her multiple times after that. So he hit her and then stabbed her multiple times. And then the other 2 teenagers were killed because they witnessed it. But they were killed much less savagely than Milo was. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he just lost his shit. But they don't really have more of a story. Like, they didn't say, like, what triggered that or anything. It just said, that he erupted in anger at her. I don't know that if he had a history of anger. That wasn't really brought out in the information that I read. But he was actually put on trial. In August of 2005, Niles went on trial. And the trial was they were looking for life imprisonment for him. And they argued with, DNA profiling and the bloodstain analysis that he was guilty. And the defense argued that the murders had to have been done by one or more outsiders. One of the big linchpins of their case was they were trying to prove that he couldn't have killed all three of them in the time that he had, and he couldn't have fought all three of them at once. And it doesn't appear like they were killed. Like, it seems like they were all killed at once, like at one time. It wasn't like one was killed and then another one was killed and then another one was killed and their bodies weren't placed. It seemed like an ambush sort of attack thing. And they were saying, that he wouldn't have been able to fight off another boy his own age and then also two females.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting, because it just seems to me like you've got three other people. And yes, those instances do happen, but like you would still have to be like pretty damn strong to like take on three other people and kill them all at once.
Yeah.
Or very like sneaky, or like, you know what I mean? Or
you're also attacking from outside of the tent. So think about it, like attacking.
Maybe chaos helped him out a bit, because like they didn't know what was going on. Right. So like he just like kept stabbing.
They'd have to find the way out. They'd have to find the way out of the tent to be able to do anything. Which by that point is like fucked. Right, exactly.
So it's a lot of chaos and confusion. So I'm okay. Yeah. I could get that.
I could see him. I can definitely see it both ways. I don't think that rules it out for me. And the other big part of their case is that he would have been incapable of killing three people given the extent of his own injuries, because he didn't just walk away totally unscathed. He had a concussion, severe fractures to the jaw and facial bones, and deep bruises to his face. So it seemed like he had been hit in the face a lot.
Yeah, they were fighting back.
They didn't say anything about stab wounds for him, which I found interesting, because all of the wounds that it seems like he incurred could have been defensive wounds from a victim.
Yep.
And the face is an area that, if you think about it, if you're striking someone and your arm's like over your head, your face is totally open to anybody, throwing punches or anything, trying to fight back in any way. So I can see it both ways, but regardless, at the close of the case in October of 2005, they acquitted him of all charges. So the jury was not able to find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And the state of Finland actually paid him 44,900 pounds. What do they use in Finland? Euros. Oh, European Union. Duh. So the state of Finland paid him almost 45,000 euros for mental suffering caused by the trial. Which, okay, I can see it both ways. If he was an 18-year-old teenager when this terrible thing happened and his friends and girlfriend died and he got away with his life, and now they're drudging it back up 44 years later when he's in his 60s.
Yeah. Can they even do that?
Later, he's in his 70s. They're drudging it up. I can see that, but I can also see why they would be highly suspect of him, because, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
And the answer to your question is yes, they can do that. They don't have the same rules on, they don't have the same statute of limitation that we have. And actually, I don't even know if we have a statute of limitation on first degree murder like that. I think
we should know that as a true crime horror.
Well, podcast. I know. There's fucking the statute of limitation on rape is something fucking ridiculous. I want to say it's a year. It's absurd. Or maybe it used to be a year. Maybe we fixed that. I hope we fixed that. But no, I think if it's first degree murder, they can try you whenever.
Okay, good to know.
Maybe if they have, I mean, there's also double jeopardy where if they try you once for one murder, they can't pull you back into court.
Right.
Here, I don't know if that's a thing in Finland.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that is the crazy story of the Lake Bowden murders, the real life inspiration behind the Friday the 13th movies. It kind of has nothing to do with the Friday the 13th movies other than it's teenagers and they're camping.
Teenagers and camping.
But
yeah.
I thought it was fascinating. I think, unsolved cases are... I don't always look at unsolved cases because they just make me frustrated because I'm like... Ugh.
Yeah.
But this one is very interesting because the suspects are all very different and crazy.
Well, I mean,
there's
you don't
a KGB
think about it.
dude included.
Well, yeah, and you don't think about like I just thought Friday the 13th was, someone just came up with
was
it.
a
Like,
script?
you know what I mean? Like, I just
that
didn't.
it was creative.
So, I mean, I guess I got to give it like some props in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, even though, okay, Leatherface has like, Ed on his side, like, that's what inspired him. So, I mean, he's got one up on that. But no, I didn't realize that. So that was, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not cool at all.
Well,
it's terrible.
No, I'm not talking about the event. I'm talking about that
knowing the inspiration behind the
had
film.
an inspiration. That the film had an inspiration.
Yeah.
That part is cool. So I appreciate that. I'm still upset that it didn't happen on Friday the 13th, though.
I am also upset.
I am so upset. Well, to be honest, I do have something that I found was very, very tragic, but this actually did happen on Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, October, Friday the 13th, 1972, was definitely not a day that you wanted to be flying. You had 2 plane crashes that day.
Yikes.
2 plane crashes. This first one is insane. So this Christian club, rugby team, boarded a turboprop plane to travel to a match in Chile.
No, how old were they? Were they a high school football team? Or were they adult football team? I mean, rugby team.
Not 100%.
Oh, I hope they weren't babies.
It's called the Old Christians Club.
Oh, I hope that's
team.
an adult team.
So, because of a navigational error, the plane careened into an Indian mountain peak, crashing on a high-altitude snowfield. But that wasn't even the worst of it. So,
oh my God, then it caught on fire.
No, but the ordeal was a lot worse than that, actually. So for 27 of the original 45 passengers who survived the crash...
No, they ate each other. I'm sorry.
In its immediate aftermath, without cold weather gear or much food, they were forced to improvise water melting devices and eventually, eat from the bodies of their lost companions.
I fucking told you they were gonna eat each other. Shit. No.
Yeah, and apparently this was turned into a book in 1974. So 2 years later, and in 1993, there's a movie. It's called Alive. So it talks about this accident. An avalanche then killed 8 more survivors.
God damn it.
At the end of October, and illness took the lives of others. So rescue did not come for them until the end of December.
Oh my God.
They crashed on the 13th of October. Help did not come until the end of December.
So it was over 2 months.
Yeah. After 2 survivors launched a death-defying effort to hike out of the rugged terrain for help, the last of the 16 survivors were rescued on December 23rd, 1972, after 72 days in the wilderness.
How did we just fucking lose a plane? The 70s was a crazy-ass time. Do you just fucking...
Yeah.
The plane just doesn't show up and you're like, well, maybe they just took a detour. Maybe they just fucking went to Arby's.
Well, there's actually...
What?
Well, there's actually an episode. There's a TV show. I think it's on Netflix that talks about crazy like plane crashes, and I actually remembered watching this one. So a lot of these accidents and stuff that happened in the past naturally caused them to like this is the reason why we have the security
Right, the black box and stuff. Yeah, I mean, for fucking sure. And JetBlue has got your ass because they pack a lot of fucking snacks for you, so you don't have to eat your friends.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, yes.
That's so terrible.
Also on that same day, yeah, another plane crashed, and statistically a lot of people are superstitious about Friday the 13th, like we said. So a lot of people actually don't like to fly on Friday the 13th, because it's not. It's no different than any other day. It's not prone to more crashes or anything, except for I guess this one day.
I guess
this
that's
one Friday the 13th.
One day when you're screwed.
And it's actually the overall rate of fatal crashes on Friday the 13th is lower than the average of all days.
Interesting. So. I wonder if that's because people are safer, or because all the crazy people who believe in it are not on the roads.
So the same day that last plane crash happened. Mm-hmm. A much larger flight crashed near Moscow's Moscow. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Ooh, let me see. I used to be there. Sheremetyevo.
Okay, there you go. In Russia.
Sheremetyevo.
The Ilyushin 62 airplane was carrying 164 passengers and 10 crew members from Paris to Moscow with a stop in Leningrad. Mm-hmm. As the plane approached the airport, it flew into the ground at an airspeed of 385 miles per hour.
Good.
And
I bet those survivors didn't have to worry about eating each other because there weren't any survivors.
No, everyone on board was killed.
Yeah.
And the cause of the accident was never determined. Actually. They think that the pilot may have lost control due to like a lightning strike hitting the plane. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So Yikes. Not a good day to fly.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Well, also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that September 13th, Friday the 13th of 1996 is when Tupac died.
Mm-hmm.
Or did he?
Or did he?
That's not the day that the shooting took place. I think the shooting took place 6 days before that.
September 7th. So yeah, 6 days.
6 days before that. Almost a week after the shooting took place. And he was shot 4 times, of course, and he died on Friday the 13th, which is very sad. Mm-hmm. He made some lovely music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's you can look back like Friday the 13th, and it's has a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of tragedy that happens on Friday the 13th, and I think it's like I said at the beginning, it's just something that sort of goes back to like you're laser focused on like because it happened on Friday the 13th, like that just adds to the stigma because there's already that feeling. So anytime something happens on Friday the 13th, it just amplifies it.
Yeah.
Or just reinforces that belief.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's because people are looking for it more on Friday the 13th, they see it more. Mm-hmm. I think that's, why that stands out to us when things happen on that day. So.
And on a Friday fell all this mischance. Jeffrey Chaucer said that in the Canterbury Tales.
Thank you, Canterbury Tales. Thank you. Very, very high society.
Very high society.
I feel very fancy with
Canterbury,
my
high
Taco
society.
Bell sweet tea.
Hold on, let me get my Papa John's.
Oh my God. So that's the episode. That's Friday the 13th. Hopefully it was fun for you guys, and we hope to hear from you.
Yes.
Finnish people, please write me and tell me all the things that I fucked up in that story. I'm sure it was a lot.
I want to know if something has happened to, you on Friday the 13th.
Yes.
I would love to know.
Yeah. Yes.
Please send us a DM. Slide into those DMs at the Haunted Heart Podcast. on
On
Insta.
Insta.
Yes. Shoot us an email.
At the
We
Haunted Heart
appreciate
Podcast
that.
at gmail.com.
Uh-huh.
We
You
are
can leave
also
a-
on Facebook if you want to hang out with us there. And you can listen to us now on, we've kind of been working on expanding our platform as far as where you guys can find us so that you don't have to change your routine to be able to listen to your favorite podcast. So you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Stitcher. You can, if you go to our website, www.thehauntedheart.com, you can find a button where you can click on that and subscribe on Android. We are also on Google Play Music. We are also working on getting on Spotify, I think. Not sure if we're on Spotify yet. Don't sue me. But push comes to shove, we are also on YouTube. We have a playlist of all of our podcasts so that you can listen to it. You can marathon us if you want. And if all else fails, you can always go to our website and listen to us live directly from there to all of our episodes.
We are every fucking
We are
where.
all over your internet. We are all over your phone. We're all up in your
over.
apps. We are in it.
We are all
We are in you.
there. The Haunted Heart is in you.
For sure. It is. Oh my God, that was
good,
that was
wasn't it?
beautiful.
Oh.
I want that. All right. So subscribe, rate, review. Reviews would be awesome. Reviews
Yes.
would help a ton. So please, if you have a second, if you think we did a good job, review us on whatever platform that you listen to podcasts.
Yes.
We would love to know your thoughts. If you have feedback for us, email us anytime. And yeah, we've just...
No, I really want you to go right now and tell us about what happened on Friday the 13th for you. If it has.
Yeah.
Post it on our... go, leave a comment, send us a message. I'm telling you, do it.
Yes. Or post it on your page and just tag us.
Yeah, or tag us.
I mean...
Yeah, tag us in your story.
Hashtag us, add us, whatever. We want to talk to you.
Yes.
So we want to be your best friend. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All
we
right,
hope you guys have a wonderful Friday the 13th.
Yes.
We hope that you are safe and happy and healthy. And we will see you back here next week.
All right. And as always, stay
Stay spooky.